What if I told you that one of the friendliest families in TV history was hiding a set of stories way darker than anything they ever faced in space? Lost in Space put a regular family on a lost ship, dropped them into danger every single week, and made millions of kids believe the galaxy was one big adventure waiting to happen. Aliens, robots, wild planets, and a family that stuck together no matter what. It's been 61 years since that ship first launched, and honestly, that number alone is hard to believe. Some of these actors went on to lives you would never guess, and more than one of them said their final goodbye a long time ago. Stick with me, because by the end of this list, one line is going to hit you harder than you expect. Number 1, we have the actor who played the calm, steady dad every kid wished they had. The guy who looked like he could handle an alien invasion without spilling his coffee. Before he ever set foot on the Jupiter 2, he was already a household hero swinging a sword on Saturday nights. That's Guy Williams, who played Dr. John Robinson. He was 41 when the show started, and fans already knew him as Disney's Zorro. On Lost in Space, he gave the family its rock, the guy who made every wild new planet feel a little less terrifying just by being there. Williams died in 1989 at age 65, after a brain aneurysm. You want to talk about a legacy? He played 2 different heroes decades apart, and both of them still have fans today. Number 2, we have the character everyone loved to hate, and somehow that turned into everyone just loving him. This actor was supposed to be the villain of the whole show. Instead, he became the reason people kept watching. That's Jonathan Harris, who played Dr. Zachary Smith. He was 50 years old when he took the role, and he turned a sneaky saboteur into one of the funniest, fussiest, most dramatic characters on television. Every insult he threw at the robot, every panic attack over nothing, that was Harris making a mistake into magic. He died in 2002 at age 87, from a blood clot to the heart. Smith was written to be feared. Harris made him impossible to forget. Number 3, we have the man who brought all the muscle and the attitude to a family show. If something needed fighting, he was the one doing it. That's Mark Goddard, who played Major Don West. He was only 29 when filming started, sharp, brave, and always the one saying what everyone else was thinking. After the camera stopped rolling, Goddard didn't just fade away. He kept showing up for fans for decades, while also working as a teacher and an author, a path you would not expect from a space-age action hero. He passed away in 2023 at age 87 after a long battle with pulmonary fibrosis. You'd think the tough guy of the crew would be the first to disappear from view. Goddard did the opposite, and fans loved him for it right to the end. Number 4, we have the youngest face on that ship, the one who made every strange planet feel like a genuine adventure instead of just a threat. What she did after the camera stopped rolling might surprise you more than anything she did on screen. That's Angela Cartwright, who played Penny Robinson. She was only 13 when the show began, all curiosity and wide eyes. Cartwright didn't chase more stardom once the show ended. She quietly built a whole second life as a photographer, writer, and artist, something almost nobody expects from a child star. As of 2026, she's 73, and mostly stepped back from acting altogether. You spent your childhood watching her explore alien worlds. She grew up and decided to spend her adulthood creating art of her own. Number 5, we have the calm, glamorous one of the family. The sister everyone wished they had growing up. She brought warmth to a ship full of monsters and malfunctioning machines. That's Marta Kristen, who played Judy Robinson. She was 20 when she joined the cast, and even though Judy was often the quietest Robinson, Kristen gave her a real gentleness that balanced out all the chaos. She stayed close to the fandom for years afterward, showing up at conventions and interviews, celebrating the show's legacy. As of 2026, she's 81 and has mostly stepped back from acting. 61 years later, and she's still the one fans line up to meet. Number 6, we have a mysterious, towering figure who barely felt human, and honestly, he had already made a career out of playing exactly that. This actor's calm voice could make the strangest alien feel almost believable. That's Michael Rennie, who played the Keeper. He was 56 when he stepped into the role, and he was no stranger to sci-fi legends, having already played the iconic space visitor in The Day the Earth Stood Still. He gave the Keeper that same graceful, unsettling energy, someone who clearly knew more than he was letting on. He died in 1971 at just 61 years old, after a battle with emphysema. He played 2 of the most quietly powerful space visitors ever put on screen, and both roles still get talked about today. Number 7, we have the loudest, roughest character to ever step onto the Jupiter 2, a total wildcard dropped straight into a family adventure show, and his own story off-screen turned out to be just as unpredictable. That's Albert Salmi, who played Captain Alonzo P. Tucker. He was 38 when he brought that rowdy frontier-style energy to the role. spending most of his career playing tough, hard-edged men in film and television. Mumy died in 1990 at age 62, in a murder-suicide. It's a heavy, sobering way for that story to end, a stark contrast to the rowdy trouble his character brought to the screen. Go ahead and drop a comment telling us which guest star surprised you the most, because this one might be it. Number 8, we have the scruffy space cowboy, who felt like he wandered in from a completely different genre, and somehow it worked perfectly. What he became famous for later has almost nothing to do with family television. That's Warren Oates, who played Jimmy Hapgood. He was 37 when he brought that dusty, restless charm to the show. Later on, Oates became a cult favorite in gritty, hard-edged films like The Wild Bunch and Two-Lane Blacktop, a huge leap from a colorful family sci-fi adventure. He died in 1982 at only 53 from a heart attack. He went from taming an alien frontier for kids to becoming one of the coolest names in outlaw cinema. Number 9, we have a deep, commanding voice that could make an entire alien planet feel more dangerous with just one line. He spent his whole career giving weight to powerful, intense outsiders. That's Michael Ansara, who played the ruler. He was 43 when he stepped into that authority, and he built decades of work playing warriors and leaders across film, television, and voice roles. Ansara died in 2013 at age 91, after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. We're talking about a man whose voice alone could stop a scene, gone after 91 remarkable years. Number 10, we have one of those actors who could make any scene stranger just by showing up. Odd, twitchy, and completely unforgettable in the smallest moments. That's Strother Martin, who played Narum. He was 47 when he brought that uneasy, offbeat energy to the role, and he spent his career becoming one of the most memorable character actors in westerns and dramas. He died in 1980 at age 61, after a heart attack. You didn't need a big role to steal a scene from everyone else. Martin proved that every single time he showed up. Number 11, we have a fragile, almost childlike presence that made you forget you were watching a grown actor. And just a couple years later, that same actor would earn one of the biggest honors in Hollywood. That's Michael J. Pollard, who played the boy. He was 26 when he gave the role its strange, dreamlike innocence. Pollard went on to become a cult favorite after earning an Oscar nomination for Bonnie and Clyde, a massive leap for someone playing a nervous, lost stranger in a family sci-fi show. He died in 2019 at age 80, after suffering cardiac arrest. 61 years after that episode aired, people are still discovering just how far his career actually went. Number 12, we have a fussy, precise lawman who felt way too familiar for anyone watching in the 60s, and that was exactly the joke. That's Werner Klemperer, who played Bolix. He was 46 when he leaned into that stiff, oddball comic energy, the same year audiences already knew him as the bumbling Colonel Klink on Hogan's Heroes. Bolix let him bring that same ridiculous authority into outer space. He died in 2000 at age 80, after a battle with cancer. If you're enjoying these then and now stories, hit subscribe, because we drop new stories like this every 2 days. Number 13, we have the steady, warm heart of the whole family, the one holding everyone together no matter what the galaxy threw at them. She was already beloved by an entire generation before this show even started. That's June Lockhart, who played Maureen Robinson. She was 40 when she joined the cast, already a household name thanks to Lassie, and she brought that same gentle strength to the Robinson family. Lockhart kept working and connecting with fans for decades after the show ended. She died in 2025 at age 100, passing peacefully in her sleep. 100 years old, and generations of fans got to grow up with her twice. Number 14, we have the young genius who made talking to a robot feel completely normal, the heart and curiosity of the entire show. What happened to him is honestly one of the better endings on this list. That's Bill Mumy, who played Will Robinson. He was just 11 years old when the show began. Bright, brave, and full of wonder, Mumy stayed close to sci-fi and pop culture for decades afterward, through acting, music, and writing. As of 2026, he's 72, still warmly remembered by fans who grew up right alongside Will Robinson. The kid who once looked amazed by every strange new planet is still out there today, and so is the show that made him famous. 61 years after Lost in Space first launched into homes everywhere, the family that once felt indestructible has lost half its members, and the ones still with us are now in their 70s and 80s, proof that even the crew of the Jupiter 2 could never actually outrun time. Tell us in the comments which cast member meant the most to you, and share this with anyone who grew up glued to that screen. Of everyone on this list, the actor who played the ship's most fearless soldier spent his final years as a school teacher, quietly shaping kids' futures instead of saving them from aliens.